Bienvenue, the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. That's all the French I know. I'm RJ.
And I'm Cort.
We are two lifelong fans of Disney parks and all theme parks.
Each week, we bring you the latest news from Disney parks and beyond.
Plus, this week we'll be catching up on the news, and Cort will be giving us a trip report from Disneyland Paris. And we have a special guest.
Tyler,
Hello there.
from the Unmistakably Star Wars podcast.
Every time I come on, that name just sounds more and more familiar.
I don't know what it
One of these
what
times
you're thinking of.
you might think of it.
I don't
It's
know.
just
Weird.
something.
Something about the logo, too.
Well, I recently got back from a trip to Europe, and I got the chance to visit Disneyland Paris. Both parks over there. And
oui.
That's where the intro came from.
Bienvenue.
So, this is episode 51.
51.
Let's kick it off with some news. You like our news
I
music?
do like your news music. It is fantastic.
It is great, isn't it?
As I drive to work and listen, it's just, it's so settling. And
I can send you the MP3 if you really
I'll
want.
just listen to you guys talk.
over the music.
Yes.
Well, Disney has announced that the Hall of Presidents will reopen with, quote, a broad range of enhancements, including a complete theater upgrade, a new sound system, new lighting, and a high-definition projection system. The story will offer a wider vantage point of our country's history, as well as a speaking President Trump. The Hall of Presidents will open in late 2017.
That
Yeah.
was my big question.
There was a big controversy. There was a change.org or one of those petitions
There was a massive petition to not
to not have
Trump
him
speak.
trunk.
Trunk.
To not have him trunk. To not have him speak, and then it was confirmed last week that he will speak,
Yes, he will be speaking.
which all presidents have since 1990 something.
Since it was earlier than that. Wasn't it the 80s?
I don't know. I thought the article I
80 something.
read it said 90 something.
Early 90s, maybe 92.
Will his speech be coherent?
Well, they write
will
it.
he stay on script?
They write
usually
it.
They write it. So
He has yet to record his lines, though. So
have they modeled him yet?
I'd be surprised if they haven't.
I feel bad for that the wig maker, the hair person.
I'm sure there's been worse.
I don't think Obama's was too hard. Not gonna
His
lie.
hair has gotten decidedly better.
Who? Obama?
No.
Oh,
Trump?
Trump's.
Yeah,
And his complexion.
Less orange.
Yeah, a lot less.
Yeah.
very true.
So,
Something about
What do we think? Is his hair going to go gray?
like Obama's did.
Yeah.
It is crazy to watch presidents over
They age.
either 4 to 8 years. How much they do age.
They aged 16 years in 4.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
must be a stressful job.
Must be.
Maybe. I don't know. A lot of them go golfing all the time.
That's true too.
Well, Maui has made his theme park debut at Shanghai Disneyland in the all-new Summertime Castle Stage Show. No word on if he'll have a meet and greet or if he'll make his way to other parks, though.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Did
You get
I've
it?
seen it.
You get it?
Yes. My coworker sang that to me like 10 times and then made fun of me for not seeing it. And then now
It's on Netflix now.
now that it's on Netflix and it's summer, I've seen it.
Nice.
There you go. It's a
I
good
still have
movie,
not
isn't
seen
it?
it actually.
Really? You're missing out.
It's pretty
Well,
good.
now
That's
it's
a
on
really
Netflix,
good one.
and it's summer, so
Frozen's more catchy, but The Rock's in this one.
Ooh, I don't know if Frozen's more catchy.
oh, throwdown challenge.
So it is.
You're welcome. Like, Let It Go, yeah, it's been played 1 billion times, but it's also been out significantly longer.
That doesn't make it any
But
less
yeah.
catchy.
I think You're Welcome is more catchy or Shiny is more catchy.
Okay.
Those got stuck in my
Not a
head.
hill I'm willing to die on. Just saying.
Those got stuck in my head a lot easier than
just
Let It Go.
let it go. Court,
I wish I could, but Disney keeps
Let
bringing it back.
Let it go.
Universal has filed a patent to enhance its attractions with augmented reality and virtual reality goggles. The patent goes into detail about using augmented reality goggles on rides and exterior theme park settings. The patent, or the patent goes into detail saying that the images may include an image of a monster or similar fictional character to be obstructing a portion of the tracks as passenger ride vehicles traverse the tracks.
Cool.
So
We knew this was coming. I mean,
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Well, didn't you guys have an episode where you talked specifically about this, and then the
Yeah.
theme park started to do it?
well,
The
because
tech we wanted to see in the parks.
we had
We
seen a
might have a
few
little
testing.
influence in the world.
we'd seen some testing. We'd seen some testing and some other things where they'd used it, and so
Well, we'd seen other instances of virtual reality on roller coasters, mostly with Kraken wasn't open then, but now that it is open, that's the first really major park outside of Six Flags that has really used virtual reality on theirs.
true.
But we thought augmented reality would be a much more viable, much more fun, much more interactive option rather than purely VR. Because VR, you can just sit down in a chair, put on a goggles, and I mean, Futurama, if you watch like episode 2 or whatever, I think it's episode 2, when they go to the moon for the first time and Fry goes to the moon for the first time, it's a theme park on the moon, and they have like darts, and then they have virtual reality darts, and they have virtual reality darts. And the joke is, wow, it feels like I'm playing virtual reality darts. And so with darts, you're actually like throwing the dart.
Yeah.
Virtual reality darts, you're just sitting there and like kind of doing the motion of it. And then virtual reality darts, you're just sitting in a chair, not doing anything. So,
Which makes sense.
you know, we don't want it to get to that. And Disney has come out and said that they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to go pure virtual reality. No. As long as Iger's in control. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
But might be coming to Universal, which it might work very well on Mario Kart, the Mario Kart attraction.
That's
coming.
where I could see AR being
Yeah.
augmented reality.
Being utilized the best.
Yeah.
Kind of like that old Freddie Wong video.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one?
Uh-huh.
Indoor Mario Go-Kart thing.
Sure.
You didn't see that?
I'm sure I've seen it. It's just been so long that I can't remember.
Well, Disney parks will be replacing the bride auction in Pirates of the Caribbean at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. The scene will now feature the ladies as pirates auctioning off bounty, and the famed redhead will now hold a rifle and be the pirate leader. These changes will happen during an already planned refurbishment, and the changes will debut sometime in 2018. Now, I wasn't able to ride Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland Paris because it was closed, so I wonder if this change is coming to that one as well.
And they just haven't said anything yet.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean,
They're gonna give her a gun until the people about guns get offended about guns, and then they'll take away her gun, and then she'll just be standing there, and then somebody else will get offended about something else.
Yeah.
That was the comment somebody I saw leave on the YouTube video that somebody put up with this
Seriously?
topic. I was like, it's kind of true. I mean, it's like
Could happen.
there's a lot. I mean, literally in the lyrics of Pirates of the Caribbean, it's like rape and pillage. I mean, like,
Yeah.
they leave it out in the Disney version, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
Probably intentionally.
Maybe semi-intentionally.
yeah.
I think completely intentionally.
I don't know.
But it is also worth noting there's a petition going around that currently has over 25,000 signatures to not change that scene at all. So we'll see if Disney listens to that petition.
that's
Well,
No, it's not at
how
all.
many people signed the "Don't Let
The
Trump
Trump
Talk"?
one. I don't know what that got up
I'd
to.
imagine more than
because when we first
25K.
When I
talked about
first
it, it
saw
was
it, it was
pretty
like-
low.
No, I thought it was like 15,000
Which in my mind is pretty low.
relatively for
Consider
how
the
many people
population in
visit.
the United States and how many
Yeah.
people visit the
Yeah.
theme parks. But
Well, I don't know. I get it. I think the idea of one, human trafficking,
true.
Yeah.
slavery of some
Slavery.
kind.
Yeah.
So those are just kind of general messages you don't necessarily want to be sending. Yes, it's been a classic piece of that storyline and that ride for a long time.
No more merch. No
But-
more We Wants the Redhead merch.
I mean, you can still have it's just more challenging now because it's not a purchase. It's you gotta like actually woo her as pirate queen. I don't know.
Pirate Queen.
I don't know. It's odd.
It makes sense that they're doing it. It's just weird that it's happening though.
It's change.
You know, it
Yeah.
is. And even Marty Sklar, who was one of the guys that like worked, he was a very early Imagineer. I don't know if he actually worked on Pirates or not, but he was saying like it's like the second act to a stage show. You've seen the ride 1,000,000 times already. You've been on it. You've seen that scene 1,000,000 times. Now we're changing it up a little bit to make you want to come back and see it again in a different way.
I guess.
And I think if they, I could see it being more relevant to the story, and that being a piece of that ride kind of refresh. If they don't just change the scene from auctioning off women to whatever,
Auctioning off other
stuff,
other
yeah.
things. Booty.
Pirate's booty. You know? That's what it is.
Yeah, in one way or another.
You mean now that they've added like Captain Jack Sparrow
Well,
throughout
yeah, so I
and
mean,
made it more of like trying to find the treasure and trying to find the map of Captain Jack
So I mean,
Sparrow and
if the
stuff.
change is story driven, along with kind of sending different messages that are
Yeah.
probably better in terms of humans, then it makes more sense. But if they just kind of change that around for the sake of trying to be more politically correct,
Not so
it
much.
holds a little less weight than that kind of. I want to see a refreshed story. I want to see how that builds into the story as a whole. Granted, that part of the story was so minute, but it was one that obviously
mean,
because
a lot
there's
of people
merch.
really enjoyed it. There was merch.
So it was,
It's
it was
one people could, you say we want the redhead, people can picture it or whatever.
yeah, instantly. So I don't know. I'm sure it will be very story driven though.
it'll be interesting to see.
Well, we've gotten our first look at Splitsville Disneyland. The new location will feature 4 dining areas, 2 billiards tables, over 25 flat-screen TVs, and 20 bowling lanes. The new location will also be capable of hosting live music performers and DJs. Splitsville is currently scheduled to open this winter at the Downtown Disney District in Anaheim, California. In case you didn't know where Disneyland is.
Yeah. I like bowling. I don't think that's enough lanes. 20
No, not at
lanes
all.
is like,
This is not the point of Splitsville, though. Have you heard about Splitsville? So they brought it to Walt Disney World, and it's more about food and dining
It's
and
luxury
drinking and
bowling lanes.
yeah.
It's far less about bowling. Than,
But you
more about
still
the
go
experience.
bowling, right?
Yeah.
yeah, but
It's more about the food and the
it's more
dining.
about the experience than the actual bowling.
But I agree with you. 20 lanes is...
Yeah, when you said that, I was trying to picture what even a local bowling joint is.
Like the one just over
Yeah,
here.
just down the road over here, it's like 18 lanes.
Probably more
Right?
than that, I would think.
I don't think so.
No.
I go every Monday. $1 game, $1 shoes.
Okay.
Totally worth it.
Totally.
Unless you own your own pair of shoes, which one of my friends did in high school.
That's one of my friends that comes with us all the time, too.
It makes it.
I'm gonna get on Amazon right now.
It makes it a
I'll be
lot
over
cheaper.
here. I'll
Makes
be
it,
over here.
makes it a
Amazon.
lot cheaper.
She also has her own ball. So,
Oh, that's a little extreme.
I mean, yeah,
Does
that's
she
what
just
I said.
crush?
Does she have a
everyone that-
bag?
No,
like, to
I
carry her
beat
ball
her.
in?
Last time, yeah, she does have a bag of carrier ball, too.
I guess I don't know how otherwise you'd get it there.
I don't know
Roll it
either.
around your trunk. Every time you take a turn.
Funk.
to replace your tail
Taillights
lights.
every now and then.
Because they're breaking from the inside.
Well, I think back to Disney stuff. The downtown area is just kind of a fun place to go hang out, especially for locals.
Oh, yeah, when I lived out there, I would go there all the time.
I don't go there all the time, but I've gone a few times.
We're a different breed.
That's true. You have no problem spending lots of money on theme park things where...
Hey, I don't spend a whole lot of money on Disneyland
But
stuff.
he'll be happy just to walk around.
Yes, I
Okay,
will be
that's-
happy to
that's
just walk
fine.
around in
You
the
like
area.
crowds of people, and they terrify me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think another sort of attraction, because what's predominantly down there is the movie theater
Restaurants.
and restaurants.
And
Yeah.
a little bit of shopping, but yeah.
Lego store.
Lego, yeah. But there's really not a whole lot of shopping, I guess. But
There's really not.
It's predominantly
Totally.
restaurants, and you could go play arcade games at the ESPN zone.
Yeah.
But really, there's not a whole lot to do. So I could see this being kind of an attraction that people would go specifically there to
A nice
hang out.
I
addition.
can see that, yeah.
Yeah. So
I just don't think that it's big enough for Disneyland.
No, I agree with that. I think that's to Tyler's point that
Yeah.
20 lanes is pretty.
Well, even just the size of it, because it's taken over where the old house, where the House of Blues used to be.
which was
That's where
one
it's
thing
going.
that drew a lot of people.
Yeah.
so
Because
it's
they used to
interesting.
do live music and
Yeah.
and like actual concerts or what. Yeah,
So I wonder how much of that will roll over to Splitsville.
sounds like a bit since they mention it specifically
Yeah.
that live music can still be there.
in the announcement.
That to me is pointing at they're keeping some of the elements of House of Blues,
yeah.
and maybe that's what the bowling lost out.
I just-
Like lost out to being able to do live music or whatever.
maybe.
Just you catch a wider swath of people.
Yeah.
You get people there that want to just eat. You got people there that want to hear the live music. You got people there that want to
bowl.
So it just kind of, it's a little more encompassing and probably will be open and full of people more often than something like the House
True.
of Blues, which
That's
is
true.
only going to be kind of evenings and weekends.
A little bit of food here, but mostly when there was something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll find out here pretty soon. Well, Rey has joined the character lineup of Star Wars, a galaxy far, far away show at Hollywood Studios at Disney World. Rey first debuted during Star Wars Celebration 2017, and she has returned 2.5 months later. The show also now includes BB-8 and a new sequence incorporating moments from Rogue One.
Cool.
Yeah. New character.
Yeah.
I like the Star Wars.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
As a matter of fact,
Who'd have thought?
I do. If you didn't notice, I was wearing a different Star Wars shirt than the last time I was here.
The last 2 times?
Yeah, actually, yes. I'm excited. I like the Star Wars. Kind of like that kid likes turtles.
I like
Turtles.
turtles. I like turtles. I like turtles.
Would you go to? I'm surprised because you went to Celebration, didn't you?
Yes.
And you didn't go to Hollywood Studios, which was like Celebration Part 2.
I was on a shoestring budget.
Okay,
Got it.
fair enough.
Understandable.
Fair enough.
Especially because I had to switch hotels halfway
you?
through my trip.
That's fun.
It was terrible.
Why?
Well, first I made the mistake of booking a Motel 6.
Ooh.
Then
Were you itchy?
by the time I checked in, they only had smoking rooms left.
Oh, that's fun.
And
That's
I
like
have a severe aversion to cigarette smoke. So, good thing I wasn't really sleeping that first night
Yeah.
because I got up at like 3 anyway and got in at midnight, so
That's okay.
but yeah, I would have loved to go had I had the opportunity, but
Well, that's when they did their it was basically Celebration Part 2.
yeah, it was the after party
Yeah.
to Celebration.
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
Were they advertising it a bit?
Yes.
Okay.
And then had videos and people
Yeah.
saying like, "It was so fun."
amazing.
And then people asking like when we were in line at 5 a.m., who went to
Hollywood Studios,
last night? A bunch of people went, "Woo!" And then the person then asked, how many of you have slept? And there was nothing. There's silence. Nothing.
Well, Hollywood Studios is really changing it up, really turning into a Star Wars park right now.
Just further reinforcing why it's my favorite park.
Yeah. Okay. I have arguments against
Congratulations
that.
to you.
Thank you.
You're one of the few.
You don't know theme parks. Well, Disney Quest has officially closed at Disney Springs. The interactive theme park has closed its doors for the final time and will be replaced by an NBA experience.
Finally. I've been talking about this for like 2
Yeah, for
years.
a while.
We're going to close it. We're going to do it. Okay, we did it.
We're gonna
No,
do
just
it.
kidding. We're not going to do it. Okay, now we're going to do it.
Well, there was some issues with getting the rights to NBA and everything, and
Which is weird, you'd think.
right?
But,
They just want more money.
yeah, probably.
Did you see
everybody
James
wants more
Harden's
money.
contract today?
No, I was working
He
all day.
got-
I'm sorry.
You weren't working all day. You went to work at like 1 o'clock.
It was 11.
Okay, whatever.
Anyways, what was it?
$228 million over 4 years.
Gee,
Or five
criminal.
years, I guess.
That's obscene.
So they need to find that coin somewhere.
Apparently at Disney. Apparently at Orlando. Disney Springs.
I guess so. Well, a new seating area has opened up in Adventureland over at Disneyland. The new seating area is located where the Indiana Jones Adventure Outpost once stood, right next to the Bengal Barbecue. We announced this was closing like last week or 2 weeks ago.
I was sad.
It closed like that day.
Whips. Where am I going to buy my whips now?
The Adventureland Bazaar.
Okay, good. That's all I need to do.
Even Shrunken Ned made it over there.
Okay, good.
Or he's still over at the seating area where he once sat. But the new seating area has alleviated a lot of the congestion that Adventureland sees on a regular basis.
There was a lot. Last time I was there, which was not all that long ago. I don't think
It's a
as
crowded
recently
day.
as you.
No, I went more recently, and it's
You
bad.
did. It was.
bad.
It's always bad.
I had not seen it that bad, and you pretty much couldn't walk down.
Man,
No, that's how it basically is
We've tried to
all
do
the
it with
time
a
now.
stroller even, and that's
Oh,
like
it's
it's like
terrible.
It's horrible.
you basically use it as a human snowplow.
But that's how the majority of that park is turning into. Tomorrowland's that same way. Adventureland is that bad.
They
and
had the people out directing traffic where
all
where
the time.
it splits.
You used to only see that like right after parades or right after fireworks. Now it's all the time.
It's the Star Wars.
Ridiculous.
Can you imagine what it's gonna be?
It's gonna be freaking crazy. I'm hoping
Over there.
I'm hoping I can get an in to get like a preview, a media preview or something.
That's what we're trying to do.
We'll see. I gotta talk to my contacts.
Except ours are fingers crossed for Disney World because it's they have Epcot. But I have heard that this the new seating area has fixed a lot of that issue.
It's good.
At least in the morning and midday. I don't know about the evening.
Because there's nothing I hate more than groups of people.
Clearly.
We've established that now.
Well, a new theme park dedicated to astronomy and scientific research is set to open in Vietnam. Developed in conjunction with the Vietnam Academy of Science and Technology, the new park will begin construction in August with Phase 2 starting later in 2018. I'm curious to see what this has.
Yeah.
What it'll offer. The concept art, it looks like a lot of kind of garden areas.
Okay.
For like observing.
Yeah.
Reflecting
Yeah.
about science.
I guess so.
And astronomy.
And yeah, except there's a like the Big Bang Plaza. It's like the main plaza right
Nice.
there.
For the CBS hit show. Sheldon is friends.
All meet and greets right there.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Bazinga.
I don't know. I'm curious to see like if this actually has like roller coaster type attractions or more kind of like
Educational
walkthroughs, entertainment, walkthrough stuff
Yeah.
type of deal.
Sounds like it's more educational.
Very much so, but you could spend like it wouldn't surprise me if like a Star Trek attraction popped up there or something a little more based in science fact than
I could see maybe, but from just the basic description you had, it's meant to be educational and to inspire people to be curious about
to
space.
pursue this stuff. And
So I could see like roller coasters that simulate rocket launches and that kind of stuff.
Like a mission space or something. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
So hopefully something that doesn't make you quite as nauseous, but
You would just man up a little bit.
Oh.
he's been talking a lot of trash tonight already.
Seriously.
Jeez.
That's what
You wanna
happens
borrow
when
a
you come on
lightsaber?
here, man.
Yeah, I need to just.
Well, mobile ordering at Disney World has expanded beyond Animal Kingdom. Deluxe Burger is now offering the mobile ordering system. The system works the same way, regardless of the restaurant where it is used, and you can just pick up your stuff and go at Deluxe Burger now
Deluxe.
at Disney Springs.
I'll test it out and let you know.
Yeah, you should.
So is there a separate line that you
Is it
can
like Chili's where you pull into the special parking spot that's to go orders
Pick
only
up
or whatever?
only?
Yeah.
the stroller spot?
Just wait for somebody to bring your food out.
Well, you basically just put your order in, and then they'll give you an estimate of when it'll be ready, and you can either walk over there if you're at Animal Kingdom or take a bus over there if you're at Disney Springs, and then you just tap, "Okay, I'm here," and then there is a separate line that you walk in and say, "Okay, Disney, what was it, mobile ordering, this line," and you just walk in,
Yeah.
pick it up, and go. So
I've seen mobile ordering, like different restaurants, like Starbucks, whatever, have something like that, where that the mobile ordering line is longer than the actual.
Yeah.
So there's definitely convenience factor there, and I think
there kind of comes a point though, if everybody figures it out, that it kind of takes away from it, you know.
So the estimated time is probably nice. If that's accurate, and I'm sure as time goes on they'll get better at that.
From what I've seen, it's pretty spot on. When it first rolled out, there was I was watching the Tim Tracker, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to try this new mobile ordering thing at Satuli Canteen in Pandora." And so he did that, and he's like, "Okay, it says it should be ready in 15 minutes, so I have enough time to walk over there." And as he was walking over there, it said it was ready. So he's like, "Oh, that took 3 minutes." So
that's kind of unfortunate though, in a way too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Food's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Well,
under some heat lamps or whatever.
At least it's not getting cold.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see as that some of that kind of stuff begins to proliferate.
I still want to see this roll out at sit-down restaurants with appetizers and drinks.
That would be kind of cool.
That's what I want.
Because you already have reservations. Assuming you're talking Walt Disney World, where you have My Magic Plus, your reservations are on that system.
Yeah.
You could say, "Hey, we have a reservation at 5, whatever."
These are the drinks we want.
Yeah. Get this app. I want the beer cheese soup.
Yeah.
Get that rolling.
Yeah. I'd like to see that.
So as you check in, they kind of start that process.
Yeah.
Because typically, how long would you have to wait if you had a reservation?
10, 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to get seated sometimes, depending on what time, and then no different than a normal restaurant, a normal, Chili's or whatever.
And then another 5 minutes to get your drinks out and apps out, or another 10 after that.
So would you say that you should be able to, as soon as you get to the restaurant, and say, "Okay, here's what I want in my order," or as you're making your initial reservation, or sometime within a window before your reservation?
No,
as you're walking over there.
Yeah, as you're walking over there, 15
know.
minutes before you're checking in of "Okay, I'm on my way over there. I have this reservation at this time."
I can see the reaction already if they announce that, because people would be upset that Disney's yet again forcing people into planning ahead. Because that's kind of the big thing with reservations and fast passes and all that, being booked ahead, spontaneity or whatever.
Well, it's an option.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, at some restaurants you have to have a reservation to even get in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in terms of a convenience, do you want to really sit there and enjoy a long meal while you're in the park? And I'm sure some restaurants, that ambiance is there.
Yeah.
But,
it depends on which one. Yeah.
But are there things that you can really
be our guest? Be our guest. I'd sit in there all day.
There are other ones where it'd be nice to just get in and out.
Hey, I know this is really good food. I want to get in and get out and still enjoy my meal, but
I also have other things to do or whatever too. Yeah.
Just maximize my time a little bit. Well, Cirque du Soleil has acquired the Blue Man Group, as they announced by a tweet earlier this week. So
cool.
Curious to see if we'll see a little bit of a crossover between the two groups.
I would say there's some similar, having seen both in Vegas of different kinds, because Cirque du Soleil is 20,000 different shows now, but there's some similarities in what they do, which is kind of odd and weird, and you're like, what's going on half the time? And there is some acrobatics, and so I could see it.
I'd be curious to see if because Blue Man Group has been Universal, and then Cirque has been Disney.
Yeah.
So we'll see if.
But they're independent companies that operate within those two parks.
But I'm sure they have contracts.
Oh, I'm sure.
And Cirque du Soleil is leaving next year at Disney Springs.
Yeah,
they're ending their show over there, so who knows what's going to happen there. Well, the Captain's Restaurant over at Disney's Yacht Club Resort will be making way for the Ale and Compass restaurant. The new restaurant will feature New England comfort food with a gastropub ambiance. The table service restaurant will be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and will be on the Disney dining plan, and it will open in October. Just another restaurant I gotta try.
There's a lot of them. Trust me.
There are a ton. Well, that just about wraps it up for the news this week.
welcome back. I'm glad you cued me because I would have just been sitting there going,
when am I going to talk?
I guess I should talk.
When should I jump in?
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue. Oui, oui.
I heard that a few times last
sure.
week. Because I went to Paris. For the
How do you
first
say
time.
hello in French?
Bonjour.
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 Yeah.
Bonjour.
I heard that and merci. Quite a lot.
Mercy, thank you.
Yeah. I
How do you
don't know how
please,
to say you're
por
welcome.
favor?
I don't know.
S'il vous plaît.
I took Spanish in
so.
high school.
S'il
S'il
vous plaît.
vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît.
Well, that's if you're being formal. S'il te plaît is informal.
Look at this guy over here.
My 4 years of high school French are coming in handy.
Well, if you can't tell by our little French lesson here, Cort just got back from Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
About to tell us.
All about it. Well, what do you want to know?
About to learn to us.
What do you want to know?
Learn to some Paris.
I want to know why I should bother flying across the pond, as they say.
Those are the Brits.
Yes,
I was there too. But
I know you were. What distinguishes Disneyland Paris, from say Disneyland Anaheim?
Disneyland proper.
Yes, Disneyland
Original.
As you
The
pull
OG.
as you pull out your
As
map.
I pull out my map of the two. Well, first off, there are two parks similar to Disneyland in Anaheim. There are two parks. However, unlike Disneyland in Anaheim, the second gate is the Walt Disney Studios Park.
So it's like Hollywood
Kind of like
Studios.
Hollywood Studios, yeah.
So you're gonna poo-poo it.
I was not a fan of this park.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. But I'm not the only one that's not a fan of this park.
Fair enough.
The Disney community as a whole is not a fan of this park. It has a few good attractions in it. I mean, it still has Lights, Motors, Action, or as they call it, Moteurs Action. Stunt Show Spectacular, featuring Lightning McQueen. They still have that, because that was originally over there, and they brought it over to Hollywood Studios for the Year of a Million Dreams. And then they still have the Studio Tram Tour as well. That is no longer
like
at
the
Hollywood
backlot or
Studios.
whatever,
Yeah, the
yeah.
backlot
Where you
tour.
see like, oh, here's those special effects or whatever.
Yeah, and theirs is a little different. They have all the same stuff that Hollywood Studios had generally. Like they have Disaster Canyon, they have a bunch of studio props. They don't really have like the like here's the costuming department or here's they kind of have it, but it's just like
Well, because
all
Hollywood
like mixed
Studios
into
was
one.
actually a working studio at some
at
point.
one point
so,
it was. But then they have another additional part, and it's like a London scene where there's a dragon flying over and like attacking London, and there's a huge ball of fire, and so that's a little different. They have the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, the very same exact version that used to be in California Adventure. That
So
is no longer there.
You reminisced.
A little bit,
Okay.
except it was in French. So.
Aptly so.
But what was interesting about that is you could.
Bienvenue à la Twilight Zone.
Tower of Terror. It was really cool though, because you could actually, because it's like in the middle of the park. It's like one of the first things you see after you walk through.
Is it kind of like the icon of that park in a way?
No, because they do have the Mickey ear
The Earful
tower. Yeah, they have the Earful Tower. It's like standing right in front of the park, or like right next to the main entrance. So once you walk into the main entrance, past the turnstile, there's a little esplanade there, or a little area there. And then you actually walk through Studio One, which is pretty much just a glorified food court.
Okay.
I posted a video of it on our Instagram on that story.
On the story, yeah.
Yeah, I might re-upload it as a full-on video just on there.
Should, yeah.
But it's got a lot of restaurants we have here at Hollywood Studios. None of them really looked like sit-down restaurants, though. None of them were sit-down restaurants, actually.
So like Brown Derby or like Sci-Fi
No.
Drive-In?
No, they didn't have either of those.
Mama Melrose's? Pizza Rizzo's?
I wish they had Pizza Rizzos. I mean, it was just basic, typical,
Like food court?
quick service food court stuff,
okay.
but themed to had a Hollywood theme
Well,
to
yeah,
it.
because there's like with a Backlot Express or whatever Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Which that was...
ABC Commissary.
Yeah, so it wasn't like that stuff. I don't know. It had the facade.
It
had the facade of the Brown Derby, but it wasn't a sit-down restaurant.
Okay.
It had the facade of like Mama Melrose it is, but it wasn't a sit-down restaurant.
Okay.
They had a leaky tiki restaurant.
A tiki bar?
Yeah, it was a tiki bar, but it wasn't a sit-down.
Lame.
And it wasn't like it was really just the facades of all the stuff. And then it was just a bunch of tables pretty much everywhere.
Right.
And then, but that was like the main like entrance
So you
into
walk
the park.
into the park,
you have
you
to
walk
walk
through a
through
food
there.
court?
Yeah,
That's odd.
that was what I thought. That's what you have
like
to
some
walk through,
Ulysses stuff,
right?
Like, that's like, right? I mean,
Yeah, no,
It's pretty similar.
which was my first issue with this park. Wasn't too great.
it's off to a rough start.
Yeah, and then you walk in and you see there's the Walt and Mickey statue. That's the same one of them holding hands like you see at Magic Kingdom and Disneyland and pretty much every other Disneyland park.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, isn't in Disneyland Paris. It's over here,
Weird.
which
Not
I
the
thought was
hub?
weird too. Yeah,
That's weird.
Yeah.
What's in the hub?
nothing.
Weird.
Nothing. Just a little circle of grass and
yeah.
plants and stuff.
Weird.
Although they did have a lot more stuff for their because it's their 25th anniversary right now. At least when I went, hence the shirt.
Oh, look at that.
They didn't have much 25th merch, or really merch in general that was different from the U.S. parks.
Really?
Yeah,
Surprise.
I was too. I couldn't find an ear hat to save my life
Like at all?
at all. I could
Just
find a
even a
little
basic-
headband. I could find the little headband ones, but
That would look good on you too. But
no,
that's just
Fit your head better.
no ear hat.
weird.
I mean, yeah,
They're everywhere
in the U.S. parks, even in like Shanghai.
Or if they don't sell very well.
Maybe that's I mean,
Over
25
there, I
years.
guess
Maybe
not.
they figured out what merchandise sells and doesn't sell in Paris.
Yeah, guess not ear hats. But
It's
then
not
you
fashionable.
But then you walk into the park beyond that little Studio One is what it's called.
Yeah.
And you're in the main area of the park. And if you go off to the right, that's where Toon Studio is, and the front lot, which is where Toy Story Playland is, which is the first version of a Toy Story Land.
Okay.
Very small. Very, very small.
Like how many attractions are we talking?
Well, so they have the RC Racer half pipe
Okay.
attraction, which
Is it kind of like the half
basically-
pipe?
yeah, it's literally just a half pipe that
And it just
the
goes up
RC
and-
Racer goes up and down, and
Kind of
but it doesn't
twirls?
rotate at all.
Oh, it just goes up.
no,
and
you're
down.
you're just sitting in RC Racer in the RC car.
So it's like a modern version of the Viking ship ride.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They have that. They have the Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin, which is
So not a coaster.
no, it's not a coaster at all. No, you get in and it basically just goes around in a circle, and it has a couple humps and dips and stuff. Pretty basic. You can find it at basically any fair, but not as themed.
So like what is that? Like a tilt? Not a tilt-a-whirl.
Not a tilt-a-whirl, no. Like
Sounds
the
like a
lightning,
small
the thunder.
roller coaster to me.
Nah,
Okay.
it's not.
No, it's one of the ones that goes around, but you kind of go up and down as you go around. You know what I'm talking about?
You go
Like-
forwards and then you go backwards.
Kinda.
and-
Yeah, I can picture it in my head.
So they have that, and then they also have the Toy Soldiers Parachute Drop, which is basically like the jumpin' jellyfish over at California Adventure. If you've been on that, except it doesn't bounce, it just pulls you up and then drop, and that's about it. So
Wow.
it does that a few times.
Okay. So far, I'm not too impressed.
Yeah,
here.
no. Toy Story Playland, kind of meh. The Toy Story Land that we are looking at getting over at Hollywood Studios, I am much more excited for. And then I'm going to save the rest of the Toon Studio area, because there's actually some good stuff over there.
Okay.
But if you head off to the left, that's where Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is, which is the exact same version, except this one you can walk around the backside of. I thought it was kind of cool.
That's kinda cool.
Yeah.
That is rare for all of them.
Something you really no. I think it's the only one that you can do that at,
Yeah.
because you can't do it at
Unless you pay for
Land
that
or
extra
World.
bus ticket thing at Disney World,
yeah.
where you get to walk backstage.
There you go. And then they have, it's the production courtyard and the backlot. So the production courtyard has Disney Junior live on stage, Stitch Live, the Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror, the Studio Tram Tour, and Cinemagique, which is basically just a film experience of the magic behind the movies.
Okay.
Very typical, kind of what we used to get over at Hollywood Studios, with the Animation Academy stuff.
Okay.
Over in there, in that Animation Courtyard stuff. Little different. Most of it's in French. They do have English subtitles, though, so that's nice. And then if you keep going back over there, you hit the back lot. And that's where Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith is at, Lights, Motors, Action, and Armageddon, Les Effects Spéciaux.
Like the movie?
Armageddon? Like
Bruce
the
Willis? Movie
Willis?
Armageddon, yeah. Really dated. However, very, very fun attraction.
Really?
Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah, I thought I was too.
What was it?
So it's, you walk in, they show off kind of like the special effects behind the movies just on a little projection screen, and you're standing there and there's a person there speaking French, and they have English subtitles on everything, and I thought that was kind of lame because you literally just walk in and there's a little bit of crowd interaction, but it's basically just watching someone talk over a movie. And then you move into, but that's where you get the story of, okay, you're being cast as extras in Armageddon. You're going to be on the bridge of the Russian space station. We need you to act terrified during the whole thing.
Okay.
So then you walk in to the bridge. You walk into the bridge and you do like practice screams and stuff. And she's like, "That's not. You can do better than that." Whatever. They didn't ask how many Americans were there though. They asked how many different types of people are there. Like they're like, "Hey, how many people from the Netherlands? How many people from Germany? How many Brits? How many French?" I was waiting for the Americans, and they didn't do it.
And that's where you started chanting, USA, USA.
I actually did slowly under my breath, and the people I was with kind of weren't too happy with that. Weren't a fan.
Whatever.
Pew.
As all the Europeans.
Freedom fries. Freedom fries.
So then you walk in and you walk to the bridge or the main area, the main show area, which looks like the space station, and it's all kind of falling apart right now. And then you go in, and then the director yells, "All right." I actually couldn't understand. It was all in French, and there were no subtitles. But something along the lines of reset the shoot. It's what I kind of understood, because as soon as the director said that, all of the broken things went back into place and everything looked brand new and all that. And where we were standing, and then you're standing around just this big circular, like there's a barrier around a circular entryway or a circular thing in the middle. And then everybody just kind of crowds around that. Where we were standing, we were off of the circular thing. We were to the right of it, and we were just kind of leaning against the back barrier. And so then everything, the director yells, "Lights, camera, action," and then things start going awry. Everything starts shaking. Things start falling down. You're supposed to act terrified. Because
I'm practicing.
Meteors are hitting. Be terrified. Scream. Noises. It reminded me really a lot of Stitch's Great Escape, except like you're not sitting down.
Okay.
Over at Magic Kingdom. And it was brighter. You could actually see things that were going on.
That's cool.
And then, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but fire comes out of places. There's a big ball of fire as the big kind of ending finale.
So it's really just showing you the practical effects.
Yeah, the practical side of
movie
movie stuff.
All right.
And then Rock and Roller Coaster, I mean, it's the same exact layout. However, it had a completely different feel to it.
Did it have a different story or just...
So the story isn't it's similar, but it's a little different. It's not you have backstage passes to an Aerosmith concert in downtown LA. Now it's Aerosmith working on the next generation of experiencing rock and roll.
And this is like a test.
Yeah, and this is like a test of it.
Okay.
So it felt much more intense when you were in that, like, what is the back alleyway of that Hollywood studio.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's like a testing room. It's like a testing area. Super dimly lit. Super intense music playing. Really cool. A lot of fun. And there are no Hollywood signs, no LA stuff anywhere to be found on the attraction itself. It feels like you're at a rock concert.
Okay.
So
less about the Hollywood aspect of it.
No, there's no Hollywood aspect of it at all. No LA aspect to it at all either. It truly is a roller coaster that rocks.
Okay, that's cool. It's interesting that they would build such a different.
I think this
style.
one was I want to say this one was the first version of it.
Really?
I think so.
Huh.
Because I think they brought over Tower of Terror for the Year of a Million Dreams over here.
And then vice versa added.
Yeah, and then added Rock and Roller Coaster over at Hollywood Studios.
Cool.
But I like this version way better. It was a lot more fun. And then over in the Toon Studio, back over there, there's a few attractions. There's the flying carpets over Agrabah, which are the same as the flying carpets of Aladdin in Adventureland.
A Dumbo type ride that
Yeah.
just spins. All right.
Yeah. The Art of Disney Animation, which is the same thing. There's Cars Roulette Rally is what I like to call it because I can't pronounce the rest of it. You want to give that a go?
Quatre Roues Rally.
Yeah. Sure. And then
Whatever that means, yeah.
the Animagique Theater, which is where it's just another stage show of the magic behind the cinemas.
All right.
The Cars Rally it's basically just a teacups ride.
But with cars. Are you in control of your car spinning?
A little bit.
All right.
Like the cars from Cars?
They're more like, so you know the Luigi's
Tire shop guys, the little
Yeah.
forklifts, or
No, they're like his cousins.
like the little Fiats.
But they're
But they're the Cars
they're
universe
themed
ones.
for Cars. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
The
that was
universe
one.
of cars. Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go on this next attraction, which is Crush's Coaster, because the line was obnoxiously long the whole day, and I only had one day here,
Yeah.
and
You had to kind of
spending it between the
times.
two parks. However, I did get to experience the Ratatouille adventure.
Oh, what'd you think of
And
that?
Having gone to Universal and gone on their screen rides and seen kind of like the cutting edge of screen rides, this blew those out of the water.
Okay.
The Ratatouille ride is phenomenal. I think it makes going to this park worth it.
Yeah, I think off camera you mentioned that that's the only reason this park should even exist.
Yes.
Because this park is very small.
Oh, it's tiny.
The
and
attractions are
mostly subpar.
okay, but not great. And
I mean, there's like 4 really standout attractions. It's Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, Crush's Coaster, just because I know it's good because the line was absurd the whole day.
yeah.
And
Plus,
Ratatouille.
I mean, the coaster's going to be a coaster, so.
Yeah. Although it's a spinning coaster.
So, like, Primeval Whirl?
Kind of. Except you're facing, some people facing forward, some people facing backward.
Oh, interesting.
It kind of retells the story of Finding Nemo, except you jump into the EAC, and then that's when you start spinning and start going crazy, and it's in the dark, and so yeah.
Nice. Jellyman.
Yeah. But I think overall, this park can be missed.
Let's say you had... So it can't be missed?
It can be.
It can be.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, if you had one day...
I mean, I had one day.
You had one day, but like... Would you do it again then if you only had one day, or would you focus more on Disneyland Park?
I would, only because this place isn't crowded.
Because it isn't.
Besides Crush's Coaster,
okay.
There was there were long waits for things, but I mean, a lot of them had Fast Pass, and their Fast Pass are within a 30-minute window, so you can just jump on, and you can get more Fast Passes over there than you can over here.
Really?
We didn't really need to take advantage of that because.
But Crush didn't have a Fast Pass?
Crush didn't have a Fast Pass now, sadly. It needs one, but it didn't have one.
Of all the things.
The Flying Carpets of over Agrabah had one, but Crush didn't.
That seems unnecessary.
Yeah, it was annoying.
Is there Star Tours?
Not in this park.
Okay.
So not in this park.
Let's move on to Disneyland then.
Okay. I do want to say one more thing about this park.
Let's talk about one
the
more
overall theme of it, or the overall feel of it, I think I heard it described really well as a themed parking lot. That holds true.
So it's very flat.
Yes.
There's no doesn't feel landscaped or.
No, I hadn't been to this park before, and while my family members were standing in line for Ratatouille, they gave me their Fast Pass tickets, or Fast Pass park ticket things.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, go find a Fast Pass that we can use. So I mean, I had seen the park map twice, and I just glanced at it, and I already knew where everything was.
It's good and bad, but I can see why it's bad because
and it took me.
It makes it less interesting as a park in terms of theming, I'm sure.
It wasn't very explorable at all. It took me like
3
minutes to walk from one side of the park to the other. Because I went and got Rock and Roller Coaster Fast Passes, which
is
are
literally
the opposite side of the park, and I mean, not a full day park by any means.
Which I guess is a good thing too if you only have one day. Which
yeah,
you did. So
so then that was the first park that we went to.
Was it? So you started there?
Yeah,
okay.
So we started over there mostly because it closed at 7.
So it was like
what
maximize our hours here.
Yeah. So then we headed over into Disneyland Park itself, which you enter underneath the Disneyland Hotel. And I thought that was a little weird, but...
Worse than a food court, though?
No, not at all. But it was actually kind of cool, actually doing it. And it's not like you walked through the lobby of the Disneyland Hotel. You were just going underneath.
A little bit under it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it didn't really feel like you were walking down at all. You were just walking through the basement level of the hotel or the first level of the hotel, even if it didn't have anything there.
Yeah.
So then you walk in and you get to Main Street USA, which is Main Street USA. Very similar to Disneyland architecturally. However, size-wise, it's more like Disney World's.
So larger?
Yes. I didn't have to duck when I was walking on the sidewalks to not hit my head on the awnings that were pulled out, which I loved. That was great. That was a good time. And then off to the right, or off to the left, is where we went, because I read ahead. Big Thunder Mountain is the most popular attraction at this park.
Okay.
Crush's Coaster was the most popular attraction at the other park. So we waited in line for Big Thunder Mountain, and I have to say, it is the greatest version of Big Thunder Mountain.
Is it newer than the other ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, because this was built, it opened up when this park opened up. So it was late or early 90s, like 92 is what it would make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
25 minus
2017
minus
25.
Mental math.
And the other Big Thunders were built in like the 80s.
Okay.
So, and there's only 2 other Big Thunder Mountains. The one in Disneyland and the one at Disney World.
All right.
And this one is phenomenal. It is a great roller coaster on its own. It is the island in Frontierland.
So no Tom Sawyer's Island or anything.
So there's no Tom Sawyer's Island.
It's that.
It is
cool.
that island.
Do you have to ride a boat out to get to it, or is it like...
No, so you board on the shore of the island, and then you go in a tunnel and go underneath the water over onto
that's kind of cool.
Big Thunder Mountain. And that part, I mean, it's fun and cool, but the way back is where it gets you. That's where it hooks you, because you go through the whole coaster, and I think it is a little smaller than the other ones. However, it has a very thrilling finish to it.
Cool. They have a splash?
No, they do
there?
not. Nope. No Splash Mountain. However, they do have a Phantom Manor.
Which is what? That's their version of...
It's similar to the Haunted Mansion. So the first, 2/3 of it are basically the same as the Haunted Mansion. I got the French version, so I couldn't understand the narrator at all. But it was very similar to the Haunted Mansion over at Disneyland. Until you go backwards out of the attic.
Okay.
Then it turns into a Frontierland, ghosty, old Western kind of... But there's no ghosts in there. It's all skeletons.
Weird.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It was really weird, but it was really cool because it added to the lore of Frontierland, and it made Frontierland kind of feel more complete.
So it's more Frontierland themed than Disney World, which is back east architecture kind of thing, or New Orleans Square type.
Yeah.
It's more Frontier. Okay.
So it's connected to Frontierland then?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Which is where
Frontierland?
Which is where, yeah, and it is in Frontierland.
Okay.
Which is where I think Disneyland Paris really outshines the other Disney parks. At least
Frontierland?
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. Frontierland and Adventureland. The Frontierland just feels really complete. The one at Disneyland's Frontierland, it has one attraction in it, unless you count the riverboat.
You don't count Splash Mountain?
That's not in Frontierland.
That's in Critter Country.
Oh,
okay.
Disney World, there's two whole attractions. Which here there's two whole attractions, but they don't really play off of each other.
Okay.
At Disney World, at the Magic Kingdom, and Disneyland, really the only kind of history or lore or depth that Frontierland has is in Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, I mean some of the buildings around there. Is it Disneyland or Disney? It's Disney World that has the...
I guess they have the Country Bears as well over there.
Yeah.
But I mean...
And Pecos Bill.
Yeah, but you have all of that over here, except for the Country Bears. Plus a little more. You have the same kind of building architecture style, the same stuff, the same overall feel of Frontierland. It just feels more complete because there's more of a story behind it.
Okay.
Behind the lore of Big Thunder Mountain.
Do they have a shooting gallery?
They do. Yeah.
Nice.
It is pretty good, actually. Well, it looked like it had a lot more in it than the one at Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's the one I know best. So then if you come out of Frontierland and you keep heading up, I guess.
Up on the map.
Up in Frontierland, up on the map.
Not always north in this case.
You head into Adventureland, which is giant. Which is weird to say. Because Adventureland...
That is true. Normally they're kind of crammed in the corner.
Yeah, it's just tiny.
Yeah.
However, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Landscaped to perfection. It is beautiful. Super lush. Even though it's a giant... It feels like Animal Kingdom to me. Super easy to get lost in. Super fun, really dense, really lush, and they have a little island of their own over there too.
Whoa.
They have the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse over there on that island.
Okay.
Yeah, as well as Pirates Beach, which has Skull Rock, and then Pirates of the Caribbean pretty much has its own area over there too.
That's kind of cool.
However, it was closed, so I could only see the facade of it, but it was still coolest regardless. And it looks like its own castle over there too.
Isn't Skull Rock He-Man?
I think that's Skull Mountain.
Okay, sorry. Skull Rock, Skull Mountain. I got confused. My bad. Sorry for the distraction.
And the big star, I would say, over at Adventureland is the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril roller coaster.
This sounded, of the things that you talked about, this sounded most interesting to me.
It was very unique. It was quite a long queue when we got in though. But I appreciated that because the queue is super interesting.
Is it comparable to the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland?
No, not at all. This is a mine car roller coaster.
Yeah, so Temple of Doom, but
I'm saying the queue, the way it's maybe not theming direct, but at least the quality of theming.
Yes, the quality of theming, yeah.
Okay.
But it's all outdoors.
Different. Okay.
It's all outdoors. There is one set of switchbacks kind of right before you board where you know, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But this is where you can really get a feel for how dense the landscape is over in Adventureland. Because the train runs right behind it, and I didn't even see it. Like, I heard it, and I heard the train, and I looked over there.
Which is funny when you think about the fact that Paris is not nearly as tropical as Southern California or Southern Florida.
Yeah.
Central Florida.
Or Central Florida, but, you know, you think about that. But
and it just goes to, I mean, it's a massive park with the level of detail of Disneyland in it with the size of Disney World. I would say this park overall is a combination of the two.
Okay.
However, this ride is the first ride to have an inversion on Disney property. Actually,
predated.
So, yeah.
Whatchamacallit?
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster. Space Mountain over here or over there. California Screamin'. Predated all of those. Okay. This was number one.
Nice.
The OG.
Cool.
It was a really fun ride. I wouldn't say wait as long as I did for it because I waited like an hour for it. But I'd wait like half an hour for it. Half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you head over to Fantasyland, which is right behind the castle where it always is. And the majority of these attractions are the exact same, but in French, predominantly. They do have an Alice in Wonderland maze. That was kind of cool, little hedge maze.
Oh.
And their Fantasyland, it looks more like Disneyland's Fantasyland, kind of a village feel to it.
Okay.
And then there's a lot more kind of whimsical stuff in the back of it.
So less castle-y, because Disney World is basically an extension of Cinderella's castle, where Disneyland's is more Germanish village.
Yeah. And then there's some more whimsical, kind of phantasmical, I don't know how else to describe it, European fantasy stuff in the back of Fantasyland that was kind of cool to explore. And then there's some water running throughout Fantasyland as well, which was kind of weird to see.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And then you head over to not Tomorrowland, but Discoveryland, which was my favorite land because it's just really cool. And they had Autopia, Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast, which is an exact replica of Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters at Disneyland in California.
They call it Laser Blast?
Laser Blast. Yeah.
Weird.
The Orbitron, which is Astro Orbiter over at Disneyland. It's the exact same, except it's all
I wonder if translation
gold.
is hard with, some maybe
Probably.
Astro or something doesn't translate as well.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
They have the Videopolis Theater, which is where Path of the Jedi, or not Path of the Jedi, the Jedi Training Academy is held.
Okay.
And it's a giant, absolutely massive theater space. And when Jedi Training Academy isn't being held there or like having a show, they play episodes of Star Wars Rebels in French, which was actually kind of funny to see.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Just episodes just playing.
Yeah. Just on screens right there.
That's funny.
However, this is also the best version of Jedi Training Academy because you have R2 right there, or R2 comes in with the show, and there's a lot of really cool rock work around the stage, and the younglings actually like lift R2 up and everything. And
wow, okay.
They still fight.
Much more dramatic version of the Academy then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then we come to the second attraction that I wasn't able to ride, which was Star Tour, or
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain, yes. Hyperspace Mountain. I also didn't ride Star Tours because that had an obnoxiously long wait, and it was the same exact version as is in Land and World, but in French. As funny as it would have been to hear C-3PO speak in French.
It's not that hard to imagine.
No, not really.
But you could Google it.
Yes. But this Space Mountain is absolutely gorgeous. It is unique in every way compared to the other Space Mountains.
So it's my understanding, right? It's a more. I wouldn't say steampunk because it was predated that movement, but it's more like the Jules Verne or.
Yeah. So the whole Discovery Land has a very big. I mean, originally it was all themed to Jules Verne's work. So Space Mountain is originally it opened up as From the Earth to the Moon. So if you've read that Jules Verne work, Jules Verne's book, you would understand that. And then they have the Nautilus walkthrough right in front of Space Mountain, and then Autopia is right over there as well. The Orbitron is very Bronze Age looking.
Yeah.
I don't know. How else would you describe it?
Bronze Age?
Yeah, the bronze. It's bronzed.
Bronze Age is like
pre-Roman
Empire.
Time ago, I know that.
More like the copper.
Copper age. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Copper riveted.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
The Bronze Age.
Way back when.
You gotta remember, I'm a history teacher.
I know
when things
I know.
happen. So
I'm not. I don't know any of that.
Excuse my funny look there.
I only know science fiction stuff.
Which is fine. And I would say that's steampunk. But they have the Nautilus walkthrough.
Yeah, they have a walkthrough of the Nautilus at 20,000 leagues.
So, as a matter of fact, somehow on my YouTube feed today, a video about the Nautilus walkthrough originally at Disneyland showed up. And it was really interesting. And it looked like a cool attraction to be able to walk through.
Oh, it was really cool. They had a few walkthroughs, actually. They had a retelling of Aladdin over in Adventureland as well.
As a walkthrough.
Kind of similar to Sleeping Beauty's castle walkthrough at Disneyland.
Or whatever.
Yeah, little dioramas of everything. But the Nautilus one was really cool. They had the Nautilus ship right there in a little lagoon in front of Space Mountain. And you walk down, and then you go through like all these tunnels and stuff to get to the Nautilus, and then you get in and you walk through a bunch of like the quarters, bunch of like the living areas and stuff, and you walk in onto the main deck, and there's Nemo's organ right there. There's viewports into the ocean outside, and there's a giant squid right there attacking the ship, and it's pretty cool.
Do you know where Nemo's organ is at Disneyland?
Isn't it in Haunted Mansion?
Yes. I was so excited there for a
Did
second.
you know?
Thinking that I knew something Cort didn't.
No.
Did you know that organ is no longer there, that it is actually in this Nautilus?
They moved it?
The original Nemo.
The original
the
Nemo
movie
one is
prop
in there.
The
one.
guy's video that I watched is wrong. Should let him know.
Or the one that I watched is wrong.
Comment on that YouTube video. False.
My brother said
Smash the dislike button.
it's always
or the
disheartening.
guys that I watched is wrong.
I don't know. We'll have to go back and see
Yeah.
which one was published first.
Or I'm misremembering it. I don't know. However, Discovery Land, really cool land. Kind of like the Disneyland Tomorrowland makeover from the 80s, I think it was, or early 90s, when they painted it all bronze and did all that stuff. Painted Space Mountain bronze.
The Bronze Age.
The thing that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to spend more time in this land than I did. However, Space Mountain was closed, so there wasn't really much of a point to me doing that. And then, of course, you have the castle right in the middle. And this is probably the prettiest castle that I've ever seen.
It's very pink.
Very pink. Very, I don't know, again, phantasmical, European fantasy thing.
You think? You'd think they'd know how to build a castle well in Europe?
Yeah.
They had things
Probably.
to model it after nearby.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when they were building this castle, they thought, they're like, okay, Europeans have real castles, so let's build one of pure fantasy. And so that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
It does
And
look pretty awesome.
it is stunning. It is really cool. And you can walk up inside the castle, and there's a balcony on the backside of the castle that you can go out on and look over Fantasyland, which no other castle has that, and that's really cool.
Did you stand there and say, everything the light touches
I would
is
have, but it was
yours"?
cloudy.
So light wasn't touching any.
No, not much light. And underneath the castle, they have a dragon.
I've heard that.
That's really cool. It is a very solid audio animatronic and comes to life very fast, very quick moving, very animated as well. Really awesome dragon. Really cool. I wish some of our parks had it.
Yeah. I've heard that from several people that have gone.
Yeah. So overall, I would say Walt Disney Studios Park, only go for Ratatouille.
Meh.
Yeah. Meh.
Nah.
Go for Ratatouille. Maybe Rock and Roller Coaster just to try the different experience that I think's better. Disneyland, definitely spend way more time there. It is a beautiful, beautiful park. They even have, and it's obvious that they built it with a lot of forethought as well.
That's cool. I mean, I guess they had the advantage of time. Because you
Yeah.
think 55 to 70 to 71, they learned some things. 71 to 92, they learned a lot of things.
Well, they even built Tokyo Disney before this one.
Oh, true. So they even had, yeah.
So they had more than three gates at
Yeah,
that point. They had
yeah.
4 already that
Yeah.
they were, like one of the things that was very obvious that they put forethought into, or a very obvious, I don't know, exhibition, or, I don't know, showcase
I'm gonna buy you a
of
dictionary.
forethought. I need one. I'm tired. I'm jet lagged. Was on the sides of Main Street USA, they call them arcades. So they have the Discovery Arcade and the Liberty Arcade, and it's basically just walkways straight to, on the sides behind all the shops and everything, on the sides of Main Street USA, either straight to Discoveryland or Frontierland.
Oh, okay, cool. So cut-throughs, yeah.
Yeah, cut-throughs for like when parades are going on.
Unlike when Disneyland, when they have to open
Oh, it's the
backstage
worst.
areas to let people through or whatever.
It's the
yeah.
worst over there. Or even when it's just like really crowded, or people are
Yeah.
lining up for fireworks already and stuff. And you can just cut through right there. And within those, they actually have a lot of really cool memorabilia from stuff.
Cool.
Like the Liberty Arcade, they have stuff from the Statue of Liberty, kind of the schematics of how it was built and everything.
Yeah.
And then Discovery, they have pretty much the history of theme parks,
Cool.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to Disneyland Paris, one, it's really cheap. We got park hopper tickets for $50.
That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow. That's
It's
unbelievable.
But it only took you $800 to fly there or more.
Didn't take me anything.
Well, yeah.
Also, those flights were actually really cheap as well.
Okay.
I think they were like $380 round trip.
That's also good.
Ridiculous.
Did you notice anything like culturally different at either of these parks than you've seen in parks in the United States? Other than things predominantly in French
Yeah.
and
Everything's in French.
But the
And
way
it's-
people acted. or,
Europeans walking around.
Yeah, I did notice that
man purses.
they were a lot more open with where they put their kids and what they let them climb on.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like, there were obvious places that were like queued off. Like, I was standing in line for Crush's Coaster, and then it broke down after an hour wait in line, and we're like, well, we're done with that ride. But there were rails around like some palm trees right there, and this lady comes up and just puts her kid right there in the rail in the palm tree area.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's you wouldn't really see that in American parks. And then there were rocks,
Maybe, yeah.
but there were rocks all over, and Europeans would just jump on all the rocks, kind of climb on everything, not really care for like if it's roped off or if it's like railed off or anything. They would just, okay, it's more of a suggestion. Let's go for it. Which is where I could see that this park might fall into a bit of disarray. I'm sure they had it cleaned up a little more than normal
for the 25th.
For the 25th. It's not like it was spotless, kind of like the Disney parks here in the U.S. I did see a lot more trash on the ground, a lot more full trash bins over there.
That is one thing I will get Disney around here is
it's spotless.
Yeah, you never see it on the ground.
You could eat off the ground.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Maybe.
I don't know if I would, but
you could.
You may, yeah. You could do a lot of things.
I'd rather eat off of that ground than like Elitch's ground.
That's true.
In terms of the park itself, was there anything that really seemed to distinguish it for you? I mean, yes, kind of the force or the hindsight of other parks being built, so maybe structurally it's a little bit more it's easier to move around, but in terms of theming, in terms of could you see this park being just transplanted to the United States and you not really being able to tell, like, okay, this is a French park versus
Disneyland, Texas?
Yeah.
Not really. Not really to picking it up and moving it to like the U.S.
Okay.
It felt much more, I don't know, fantasy based. Because it felt more like of a simulacra of... I know Disneyland itself is a nice example of a simulacra.
There's your dictionary word, RJ.
Right there.
There you go.
But it felt more of a simulacra of the Old West, of what it, like, a fantasy of what it used to be or what it was.
Which is super interesting given that
Disneyland... It felt more of that, though.
Yeah.
Well, it was like an exaggeration of that. It felt more...
Probably what Europeans think of what the Old West...
And they loved everything about Frontierland. Like, Frontierland was the land to be in.
When they still think some of us ride, horses every day or whatever. Yeah.
Also, when we were in the queue for Big Thunder Mountain, there was a bunch of memorabilia from, like, mining stuff from, like, Denver, Colorado, which I thought was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just came from there.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Were you signing autographs next to it?
You're like, I'm from Colorado.
I'm from Colorado. I've been there. I live there. No. I'm not that kind
I've
of
seen
guy.
the School of Mines.
The big M on the mountain.
Yeah.
I just think overall, everything, it had a much more fantasy feel to it than the American parks.
So it felt almost maybe would you say over-exaggerated?
I wouldn't say
not like in a bad way,
over-exaggerated.
but just...
More whimsical.
Whimsical version
more,
of everything.
More whimsical, more emphasized,
Okay.
I would say. It was really cool experiencing that. And I do think if you're coming from America and you want to go to international parks, this is probably the best one to start out with. A lot of it's in French, yeah, but you can really understand the gist of things, and 99% of the people there speak English as well.
They're related.
Kind of.
They are.
I know.
Latin-based.
One thing, like, I mean, on the Ratatouille ride,
Bronze
like,
Age.
Not gonna let that go. On the Ratatouille ride, like, Gusteau would be speaking in English, and then Remy would be speaking in French, and they'd basically say, like, the same thing of, like, oh, what are you gonna make, Remy? I don't know what I need to make. What can I make to impress them or whatever?
Yeah.
But in French, at least I was told. So they kind of do like half and half of stuff like that.
Cool.
It's a really cool park, really cool place to go. You could splurge and spend the extra $10 and head over into the Studios Park and ride Ratatouille, maybe Crush's Coaster, but
if it's $10, I'd say it's probably worth it.
Yeah, it's 10.
If it's $10
US
I'd probably
dollars,
do it, yeah.
It's around there. It's not bad.
Cool. That was for park hopper tickets. Wow.
Yeah, $50 for park hopper tickets. I think it is the cheapest Disney park.
That's crazy.
It was a lot of fun. Really cool experience. Definitely would recommend going to Disneyland Paris.
Cool. Thank you for listening to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
Check out our social media at Unmistakably Mag on Twitter, Unmistakably Magic on Instagram, which hopefully you'll follow us before this because Cort was doing some pretty good posts from on the story.
I did save all of those, so
Okay,
I could throw them back up again.
Facebook.com/Unmistakably Magic.
Well, if you like the show and you want to support us a little bit, our excursions beyond, head to unmistakablymagic.spreadshirt.com.
Why don't you guys do a Patreon?
I don't know. Thought about that.
Okay.
Might be too
I
depressing.
don't know what kind of perks we could do.
You got all sorts of merch you can give away.
I do have quite a few maps. Maybe we'll do a map giveaway.
Email us, unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. Maybe Cort has more to share if you'd like to know.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he does.
I could talk
Think we
about
need
it
to
for
cut
a
him
lot
off?
more.
Go ahead and subscribe to us over on YouTube and iTunes or iTunes. Leave us a
Both.
review on iTunes and, hey, hit a comment. Hit a like on the YouTube there. Share it with your friends. Big thank you to our friend Dylan over at Blast Off Branding for making our awesome logo. And, hey, check out our friends at the Unmistakably Star Wars Podcast.
There's always something going on.
Always.
Got a series, the main show that they don't let me on anymore. I threw Rebels up on YouTube. I know you guys talked about that. So if you want to go rewatch those, make me feel better about the time and effort I put into those, get a few more views. We're doing a series on the movies that have inspired The Last Jedi. So going back and watching those and then talking about them and trying to speculate on what might find its way into The Last Jedi. So that's a fun series. You know, lots of stuff all the time.
Yeah, nice. Well, I don't have any announcements or shout-outs. But if you want to announce something or have a shout-out on our show, send us an email, unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. But that's just about it.
All right. Have a magical week.
See you real soon.